Hey Archery Talk, this is Lucas, and as you may have guessed, this is the 2024 Hunting Bow Shootout. Now, sourcing bows for the shootout every year is usually quite a challenge. Some years I only get 4 or 5. This year, however, has been an embarrassment of riches. I have a total of 8 new for 2024 bows in for testing. Now I'm going to put them all together in this competition to see which one I like the best. Here are the bows that have arrived in the order I received them. We have the Mathews Lift 29.5, Elite Ethos, Hoyt Alpha X 33, Bowtech CORE SR, APA Black Mamba 33, Bear Whitetail Maxx, Xpedition XLite 29, and Prime RVX 34. Now you may be noticing that there are several bow brands not represented here. Please know that I reached out to just about every manufacturer I could, and some chose not to participate, some didn't get back to me. Hopefully we can get some of these guys on board for 2025 and beyond. Now, let's get to work. I have broken the shootout down into multiple categories and each having a different weight on the final outcome. Let's get into that right now. So the first category for me every year is draw cycle. For me, that is pretty much the most important category in any bow. After all, if I don't enjoy drawing it, I'm going to shoot something else. And the winner this year by the slightest of margins was the Prime RVX 34. The Prime just barely edged out the Hoyt Alpha X 33. These two, however, were a good notch above anything else in the competition. Both bows draw very smooth, no hump into the valley, just an enjoyable shooting experience. You could shoot either of these bows all day long, even at 70 pounds, which for a skinny guy like me is saying something. I do wish I had a chance to shoot the Darton Sequel 33, which I did shoot at the ATA show and absolutely loved. Darton chose not to participate this year. Hopefully next year we can get them on board. Our next category is speed, and for this I tried to set up all of the bows as close to 70 pounds of draw weight and 30 inches of draw length as possible. I shot each bow with the same 350 grain arrow through the same chronograph on the same day from the same position. I really tried to make this as simple and as scientific as possible, and there was one clear winner, and that is the Bowtech CORE SR. This bow shot an average of 341 feet per second. That is only 3 feet per second off its advertised speed. Absolutely incredible, and also super impressive that when I flip this from performance to the comfort mode, which gives us a much different draw cycle, it still finished at 330 feet per second, which is good for 3rd overall, a tie for 3rd overall out of all the bows I shot this year. Special mention also goes to the Bear Whitetail Maxx. This bow came in at 334 feet per second. That was good for 2nd overall, only 5 feet per second off its advertised speed, and this is a bow that costs half as much at most as any other bow I tested this year. Next up, I'm going to look at stability and accuracy, and for me the winner here is the Hoyt Alpha X 33. This is the bow I really reached for more often than any other hunting bow I tested this year, mostly because I liked how it shot, it fit my hand well, it shot the targets as well as I can shoot a target, and quite frankly, every bow I tested this year is plenty accurate for me at hunting distances, which realistically are under 40 yards for anything I'm ever going to shoot. But if I'm looking for like a do-everything bow that's good for 3D archery or maybe some little paper archery, if you're shooting in a league night at your club, this Hoyt Alpha X 33 would be a great choice. That said, the Prime RVX 34, the Bowtech CORE SR, the Elite Ethos, all would be fantastic choices. I think it helped this year that half of the bows were at least 33 inches long, which again, as a taller person, that suits me just fine. But overall, again, if you're just looking for a hunting-specific bow, any of these will absolutely get the job done. So if we're going to talk about how bows shoot while you're holding them, we should also talk about how bows feel after you let that shot go. And in recent years for me, this has been a category that Mathews has dominated, and the Lift 29.5 absolutely carries that trait over. This is a fantastically quiet and vibration-free bow, but this category is much, much closer this year. Realistically, you could put the Elite Ethos, the Hoyt Alpha X, maybe even the Xpedition XLite 29, all in this same kind of category of super quiet and light vibration bows. There's really a lot of great options this year in that category. Grip is our next category, and this is an important one for me. After all, the grip is the only thing connecting you to your bow while you're shooting it. And the winner this year for me is the Xpedition XLite 29. I really like how this grip feels in the hand. It's got the perfect width for me. It is perfectly flat, and it's almost like you're shooting right off the riser, except you have a little bit of softness and kind of weather resistance that comes from shooting like a polymer or a composite grip, which this bow has. Xpedition also gives you 2 different grip inserts that come in the bow package, and I suspect the aftermarket will soon offer a bunch of different grip alternatives for this bow as well. And to be fair, the Bowtech CORE SR and Elite Ethos are also right kind of neck and neck for my favorite grip this year. Either one of those would be a fantastic option, at least according to my hand. Your mileage is obviously going to vary. Tunability is the next category up for grabs here, and in the last couple of years, this has been a showdown between Bowtech and Elite. Bowtech with their deadlock technology, Elite with their set technology, and this year is no different. These two are the easiest bows I have ever been able to tune. You can do whatever you want from these bows right from the shooting line if you need to, without a need for a bow press. Bowtech upped the game a little bit this year with their timing lock, which allows you to kind of adjust the timing of your cams, again, without the need of a bow press, just with an Allen wrench. But realistically, either of these bows is a fantastic bow to tune, and it really makes the job easy for you without having to need any kind of specialty tools to get the job done. I should also mention the APA Black Mamba 33. APA has long been in the business of trying to make it easier for you to tune your bow. It's still got the cam lock pin, which allows you to draw the bow back slightly and then just lock the cam into place against the limb. And that you could even change your string, change your peep, do all sorts of kind of bow surgery without a bow press. And they've even added the micro tune system, which also allows you to time your cams properly, again, without any extra tools needed. It's a great option from APA, just like Elite and Bowtech have in their corner. Fit and finish is our next category, and I really have some fantastic looking bows this year that have held up great, but the winner here for me is the Xpedition XLite 29. I absolutely love the flat dark earth color. It's on the riser, it's on the limbs, it's on the cam, it's on the roller guard, it's on the strings even. It is a fantastic looking bow, and it absolutely is probably my favorite looking Xpedition I've ever shot. I also want to give a shout out here to the Elite Ethos. This midnight copper riser color I think is the best looking riser of the year for me. I've never seen a color like this from Elite before, at least on a bow I've tested. This is stunning in person, it is stunning in pictures, and it's one you should go see for yourself in person. Again, we should also talk about the Prime with their G-Fade, kind of goes from a solid color to a camo pattern, great looking bow. The Hoyt, which allows you online to kind of choose your own color. You could choose your limb, you could choose your riser, and you could choose your string color all online, so it gives you a lot of options for you to kind of choose what works best for you. Bottom line, there's great looking bows out there, you just got to find the one that looks the best to you. Price and value is an important consideration for consumers of any sorts of goods this year, and archery is no exception. And when you're looking at that category with all the bows I tested this year, there can only be one winner, and that is the Bear Whitetail Maxx. This bow costs just $600, which is half at most the price of any bow I've tested this year, and it has the performance to match any of those flagship level bows. This finished second in my speed test. It was the second closest to reaching its advertised speed on my chronograph. It gets the job done. It's a fantastic shooting bow, and again, at this price point, it's really hard to argue with anybody else. Among the flagship level bows I've tested this year, there is still a lot of value if you know what to look for. The Prime RVX34 is a prime example. This bow has this fantastic G-Fade paint job. It's also $100 less than the Prime RevX was a year ago at $1,200. At $1,200, it's the cheapest of the flagship level bows we've tested, and it's the same price for every bow in that range. The RVX32, the RVX34, and RVX36 are all that same $1,200 price point. Typically, from most other manufacturers, when you move up to a larger bow, it comes with about a $100 upcharge, not so with Prime. Now that all the categories are out of the way, it's time for me to actually pick a winner, and I'm thinking there are 3 different ways for me to look at that this year. Number 1 is which bow is actually my favorite, which is the bow that I reach to anytime I want to shoot a hunting bow. Number 2, which bow do I think is best for the most amount of people? And number 3 is which bow do I think is best for somebody getting into archery for the first time? And the winner for that first category for me is in which bow is my favorite, is the Hoyt Alpha X 33. There's just something about this bow that has drawn me to it. This is the bow I reach for when I'm not doing any actual proper testing, when I just want to shoot. This is the bow that I like the draw of, I like how it holds on target, I love how it looks. It really ticks a lot of boxes for me. As for which bow do I think is best for the most amount of people, I'm kind of leaning towards the Bowtech CORE SR. Not only could this bow be a pure speed bow with fantastic speeds in performance mode, but if you switch that over to the comfort setting, you get a completely different draw cycle. It's still a bow that's long enough to use for 3D and stable enough to use for 3D and target, and it's also the easiest bow to tune that I have ever shot. As for which bow I think would be best for somebody getting into archery, it's the Bear Whitetail Maxx, and this was a pretty easy choice for me. Number 1, it's easily the cheapest here at $600, and so with that extra $600 or $700 that the other bows cost, you could outfit this with some fantastic accessories and get completely set up, or you could put some cheaper accessories on and go get yourself set up for hunting for the year. It is a great choice I think, for anybody getting into the sport. Plus, you've got those limbs that go from 55 to 70 pounds, or if you don't want to shoot that much weight, you can go 45 to 60 pound limbs. It's a really good and versatile bow for somebody, I think, that's just getting into the sport. Archery Talk, I think that's about all I have for you. If you want to express some of your own opinions in the comments, feel free to do so. I'll try to respond to as many of you as I can. I really do appreciate you watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel an awful lot, and we'll see you again soon.